Hello everyone and welcome back to E2E. Today we're starting off here in the Industrial Craft Factory because I have made a discovery. So do you remember last episode when we discovered that my buildings were just being chunk loaded without me setting them? Well, something similar happened here. And as you can see, we have 64 buckets of UU matter, plus 8 in here, plus 16 in here. Yeah, I was AFK I was not on the server for about a day, and this is full. So, I didn't think we would have this much, but we do. So, cool, I guess this will just sit here. That's a lot of UU matter. Now, if we take a look here, the Chaos Shard, the biggest one, takes 6,000. We have, like, 10.5 shards worth. Anyways, we're starting over here this time, mostly because of this, but also because the reason I made this whole UU matter setup was to duplicate these pellets of RTG fuel. Because I'm fairly certain these are used to make, yes, the creative capacitor bank, and we need 4 of them, and these are extremely annoying to get, and I don't want to just sit around waiting for my reactors to work. And also, it looks like they're used in the Void or Miner Controller Tier 6. Cool! Anyways, so what I was thinking we do, we put this in here, and we grab one of these crystal memories, and we just scan this. And then we can grab a pattern for the pellets of RTG fuel, which then we can use to duplicate it, and then we won't have to worry about making more of them. So let's go ahead and speed this up. 681 millibuckets of UU matter for that. That is kind of a lot, but that's fine. Bam, there we go. Pellets of RTG fuel. We want a pellet of RTG fuel. Now, this is going to take a while because it uses a lot of UU matter here. Also looks like we're running out of power. That is not surprising at all, considering I'm running this entire thing off of... Alright, so I may have mentioned it last episode. I don't really remember, but we need to upgrade our ME system. Our drives are full, our autocrafters are slow, our molecular assemblers are in no way, shape, or form prepared to handle the advanced crafting that we have, and we don't have bulk storage. And also, we're running out of channels. We need to fix all those problems. So that's what we're going to do today. So the entire goal is we are going to make a brand new ME controller setup. We're going to do full P2P on it. We're going to upgrade our drives here. We're going to upgrade all of the autocrafting in here. These and these, we're going to add some more machines in as well with interfaces because we do need some industrial craft machines and maybe also some thermoionic fabricators. Might wait on those though because there's an advanced version that we can get later. I'm not going to look into the advanced version today because that just seems like a lot of stuff to do, but we could do that eventually. And then we're also going to go ahead and get fluid storage because we do need to store some fluids in here because that would be very convenient for making water buckets, lava buckets, stuff like that. And then if we have some time, we may set up some extra resource automation for just getting the basic stuff that we always seem to need, like cobblestone, sand, gravel, stuff like that. Okay, so first order of business, let's get the brain built because that is going to determine how everything else works. So what we need to do is we need to come in here, we need to make a pattern for the ME controller. Okay, so let's go put this in our pattern storage. By the way, this will also be upgraded because we're running out of space and we need a lot more. How many of these do we need? If I am doing my math right, we need 8, 8, 4, minus 1, we need 19 total. So let's just go ahead and 19. And what do we need? 19 Fluix pearls, 18 energy acceptors, a bunch of Fluix blocks, machine cases, control circuit boards, and skystone. Jesus. Okay, well, I'm just going to get to work on these. I don't think I'm going to make the recursive recipes for this because I also realize we need subnets. We'll explain later. We're going to need to make more of these. I might just make 25. I will do that. That's going to be annoying. The Fluix specifically. How much Fluix do I have? Not a lot. Okay, well, good thing is I would also like to get automation for Fluix creation. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. As we can take a look right here with Fluix crystals, there's 2 ways to do it. You can either use Fluix essence or you can throw charged Certus quartz, nether quartz, and redstone into water, and you get 2 of them. This is a tier 4, so we could do this. We need a lot of superium, but I think this might be the better way to do it. I was originally going to go set up a whole ME thing, it takes items out of our system, drops into water, gets sucked up by some other thing, blah, blah, blah. Seems like a lot of effort. There we go. Fluix automation. Basically, we're done already on that. Okay, all I need to do now, I need to do a similar setup to what I've done with this redstone here. I need to, let's see, we need to move this box out of the way. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but basically I've just been adding a storage drawer and then just letting this run because, it's just chunk loaded for some random reason. So we basically just have so much essences of all of these. It's getting ridiculous. But anyways, we're going to do the same thing for Fluix. We've got about a stack of this stuff. Now let's see the conversion ratio. It's 8 to 4. That's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. All things considered, I've been sitting here for maybe 5 minutes and we already got half a stack. It wasn't even 5 minutes. It was more like 1. Yep, this is going to be a process. Okay, all right, Skystone's going to be easy. We just have to smelt it. That's going to be the simplest part of all of this. Okay, right, Skystone done. Next up, I'm not going to do Fluix blocks. Why don't we do the machine cases next? We just farm up a bunch of rubber wood. We need about, let's see, we need 25 of these, so we need 100. So a stack and 36. Route, yay. Okay, so we also need advanced machine casings. Now, we can either make these the hard way, or we can make these the easy way over in the Industrial Craft 2 factory, because that is what I set up last time, because these are super annoying to make. We also got our pellet of RTG fuel, but let's just put this on repeat run until we have 25 or so. 25. All right, we're also going to grab our 50 Skystone out of there, and those are done. Next up, let's do maybe Fluix Pearl, or, oh, that's a lot of Fluix. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. All right, there we go. That is Fluix Pearls done. Now, hopefully we don't need any more of those for the recipes. We need more Fluix blocks. Fantastic. And then the control circuit board. So, yeah, we're going to need a lot of Fluix stuff. But why don't we just do this first? Alright, we need 50 copper coil blocks after I have somehow managed to get all of those. I think we're going to make way more. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so the next thing we need is bioplastic, and then finally circuit boards. Bioplastic is easy. You just shove 2 sugarcane into an enrichment chamber. I don't know if I have a lot of sugarcane. Is there a way to get this? Nature essence. I don't think I'm making that. So how do you get these nature clusters here? I think we can do this. We don't have pumpkins. How do we not have pumpkins? How? Okay, surely someone has pumpkins, right? Potato Master, unfortunately, doesn't look like he has any pumpkins. Yep, no pumpkins at the Night Goblin's base. And surprisingly, no pumpkins at Rolly's base either. He has everything else known to man, but no pumpkins. Never mind, I found them. Oh my god. Let's go, dude. There's our nature seeds. Okay, yep. Thank you, ME system, for turning off in the middle of my shift click. I appreciate it. There we go, 25 control circuits. And now you're gone. So all we need is energy acceptors, which we need more vacuum tubes, redstone engineering blocks, which can be duplicated with UU matter. How convenient. Surface quartz fixture, glass cables, engineering processors, more Fluix blocks, and then more Fluix blocks. Alrighty, we are back, and I have made everything we need to make all 25 ME controllers. But as you can see, I went a little overboard and made a whole bunch of other stuff that we're going to be needing here in the future. So why don't we go ahead and we craft the ME controllers that we need. 25 ME controllers. That was a lot, and that was extremely expensive. Okay. And you'll also see we've got P2P tunnels. That is what we're going to be working on next, with a memory card and network reader to help us out, a bunch of cables, quartz fiber, and cable anchors. This is going to be complicated, and setting this up is going to be an absolute nightmare. But we're going to try it, and I'm also going to try to explain it to the best of my ability. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're making a big ol' ME brain. Yep, there you go. As you can see, that is working. If I were to place something here, though, and here, these two don't work because this one isn't real. Because you can only have, I think, yeah, it can go 7 blocks in every direction, and it can't be at a cross junction or else it won't work. Now that we have our big ME brain down, we need to get all of these channels to go somewhere. But running dense cables on each one of these, you'd have to have 8 colors, 8 colors, 8 colors. That would just be a nightmare. And then you couldn't even use the ones on the inside here because they're too close together. So we need to figure out a way to do that. Luckily, P2P tunnels exist, so I've done a little bit of research on this, so hopefully I figured out how this all works. Let's start with this side. That makes the most sense. First order of business is you need to place P2P tunnels on all of the sides of your brain, which basically what a P2P tunnel is it converts all 32 channels of here into one channel. So a channel that holds all the data from 32 channels accessed from each side of the ME controller. And then what you do, you hook these all up to some smart cables so you can read it. Now, as you can see, 8 channels are being taken right here. That's because there's 8 sides, each with 32. So this technically can carry 256 channels worth. Now, you can't access the other channels because you need to place down another P2P point and link them together with this memory card here, but that's for later. Right now, we just need to get this set up. So the next thing that you need to do is you need to send this into a new ME controller. Now, that may seem a little strange, but it'll make sense here in a little bit. So basically what needs to happen is this ME controller and these are completely separate. This is technically a subnetwork of this. So what happens is you send, let's see, you can send 8 from this side, 8 from this side, 8 from this side, and then 8 from the underside, all into here. That's 32 total channels worth of channels. Does that make sense? I think so. So then what this can do then is this network technically is the master of all of the P2P channels. And then you can send this anywhere you want, and then you put the output P2P, match this together, and then you can have 32 channels wherever else you want. That kind of makes sense, hopefully. So I also need to come up here and grab a dense smart cable right here, go back down here, and we place this here. Now the reason we use a Fluix colored one is because all of the colored cables don't connect to each other, but they all connect to the Fluix variety. So then what we can do is we can take more P2P points on this side, hook them all together like this, and that will also go into here. So now this controller has 16 P2P channels, each containing 32. That's a lot of channels. Now what we're also going to end up doing at some point is we're going to put them on the inside here. Unfortunately though, we cannot place the purple one, so we're going to have to get a separate color, which is why I made a bunch of the normal smart cables, earlier so I could go dye them as I needed. Now I'm going to try to keep the colors similar to each side, because what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up doing 2 full sides into each ME controller. So purple and magenta, which we can do right here. Purple and magenta is the base. So all of these 24 P2P channels, each with 32, so do the math, that's how many channels we have. This will all go to the base, and we'll run all of the autocrafting here. We've got 2 extra double sides that we can send other places. Like maybe we can send this side's worth over to the industrial area, where we can then set up autocrafting for all the various machines over there. Maybe we'll end up doing that, maybe we won't, but basically I just wanted to have a whole bunch of extra channels available in case we need it for more advanced autocrafting, which we will need in the future. So it's a good thing that we're getting this set up. Now you can probably see another problem arising soon, and that's power. How are we going to actually power this? Because if we connect this and this together, this will not work because it's technically the same network, which is where these glass or quartz fibers come in place. So these quartz fibers are how you can transfer power without transferring anything else. Before we do that, we need to figure out which side we need to send power into, because one of the sides of this controller will not have a P2P point on it because it needs some sort of power input. And I think I'm going to go with the top because we've got extra space here. That does not look black. That looks just like that. What? Dense covered cable black, dense covered cable Fluix. They look the same, but maybe it's because it's not powered. Probably going to end up putting drive on this black one so it has direct access to the network. I did test it. You can place a drive on a P2P point and it will work, but like to have that, you know, make more sense just having direct access to the main network, just in case something breaks along the way. I don't expect it to, but you can never know, right? Now when we come down this elevator, we will have direct access to the main network right through here. Okay. And also we're going to end up running this black cable probably up to here. We could just move it. We could just move it right here. You know what? Why don't we just do that? That makes way more sense to me. Okay, we'll do that later though. Right now, we just need to get everything sorted. And more specifically sorted is power. We need an energy acceptor. That makes sense. Let me go grab one of those. And as you can see, that now changed color, and that means we have power to our main system. But as you can see, this doesn't have power. So what we need to do is we need to grab our black cable here. We need to run it down through here, and then we add a quartz fiber. Now quartz fibers will only transfer power, and that will transfer power directly from the main system straight into the subnet. And as you can see, 24 channels, 8 here, 8 here, and then the 4 on both sides. That means we have 24 times 32 channels directly into this ME controller. So now what we can do is we can grab some of those purple dense cables from our storage system, and then we can run this wherever it needs to go. Probably straight up into this floor, because this is where all of our auto crafting is going to be, like this. This purple cable can get turned into a P2P network access point for all the auto crafting over there. And that's what we're going to end up doing. But for now, this is outputting channels. Now, just to test something for the sake of testing it, why don't we go grab something that takes a channel? We'll take our crafting terminal down here. So now to get a P2P out of here, just to demonstrate, we need to put a purple cable here because P2P channel or P2P points do not work if you place them on this. As you can see, it's facing to the other side. That is not what we want. We want it to be like this. There you go. What we can do is we can grab our memory card here. Let's just link this one. Shift right click and then normal right click. As you can see, the little color pattern on the back matches. And now we can take any kind of cable. Let's put on the dense one just to show that this is in fact working right here. And now we have 32 channels directly from there. Then we can go ahead and place our crafting terminal on here and see that this is now our main network. So if I were to move the drive right here, then we could see it from over here. Honestly, let's go do that just to see if it works. As you can see, that is in fact powered, and we should be able to access it from here. This is the main network. Why is it sorted weird? There we go. This is the main network, and we have access from a P2P point. And this is only using one of the 32 channels that we need because it's from this subnet. Perfect. Now that is complicated, so if that didn't make sense, I don't blame you. I had to watch about 4 tutorials, but I understand how it works now. So basically now all I need to do is get it set up with different colors on this side and then maybe the bottom as well, and then that should be P2P done, and then we can reconfigure our entire network. Alrighty, so now that we have gotten the entire brain completed, it is looking like a spaghetti mess of wires, and honestly, yeah, not really much you can do about that. I probably could have done better with these cables, you know, but like, whatever, man. It's not the end of the world if it's a spaghetti mess down here. This is, in fact, an industrial area. The next order of business, though, I need to reconnect this to my auto crafting because, as you can see, it's currently disconnected from literally everything because this controller is now controlling nothing as there is no drive up here. So what we need to do is I think we just take this out, run this through the floor. So what we need to do is we need to do our first actual P2P connection, which is actually kind of neat. This is temporary, of course, because we are going to be moving this, and then like that. Now this should get channels to it theoretically. It isn't. Why is this 0? This should be 1. I know what happened. It connected here. So now it should be fine. We can place this right here. Yep, I did in fact make a loop, and that is why that broke. Okay, so this should just be working now, right? 32 out of 32. Looks like some of these things are not going to work. That's fine. I just need to be careful. We're going to be upgrading this anyway, but I wanted to hook everything together so I could like return to actually being able to auto-craft on this system, because I wasn't able to do that because I had, you know, completely disconnected it from my auto-crafting system. Speaking of the auto-crafting system, that is the next goal. So basically what we need to do is we need to make more, I think we're going to do 2 64Ks each. We're going to do a monitor, and then we're going to fill in the rest with co-processing units. Although I could make it a nice even thing if I did a 64, maybe 3 64s, one of those, and then like 16 co-processors maybe. And we're going to put them, well, we're going to put them in one of the sides, because one of these sides is going to be like the crafting stuff. The other side is going to be the molecular assembler setup, and then we have 2 extra sides in case we need more molecular assemblers anytime in the future. So I guess to get this started, we need 64K things. We need 3 for each of these. Let's start with 4 crafting CPUs. We need 11, I think. Oh, dear Lord, we're going to need a lot of stuff. Okay, well, that's typical. Is there anything that we can do with this 4K? I don't think I can, so that's a bit unfortunate. So I guess these 4Ks are just going to kind of chill here. I guess we could also do 2 64s and a 4, just to make it look a little interesting. Why don't we do that? Okay, now the real question is, I just sent an auto-crafting request up to the circuit thingy. Do you think this is actually working? Oh, it is. Dude, let's go. Thank you. I hope I have exactly 32 channels. I guess we could find out. So this is 23 and this is 9. I have exactly 32. Dude, that is an absolute miracle. Oh my god. Okay. Why don't I just cut back to when I have all of the components necessary to build 4 of the upgraded crafting computers. Okay, said I'd be cutting back when we have all of the necessary components, and I don't have the components yet, but I do have the resources. I went ahead and made some Certus quartz seeds, just so we can grab some more Certus quartz because we were running out. And now we've got about 1,100 and then 1,600 fluics to go along with it. So that is pretty good. How do I want this to be organized? I kind of want it to look nice. So why don't we do something like this instead? Yeah, okay. So then we can, basically it's going to be 5 tall. We can have the monitor right here, 4K, and then the 64K. There we go. Now that is a crafting CPU. Why don't we go ahead and get our P2P tunnel set up for that? So each one of these is going to take a channel. I'm also going to be putting the auto crafting for the applied energistics components over here. Or more specifically, the, what are these called? The processors and also the charged Certus quartz is going over there. And I think there was one other thing that I was going to set up that I don't remember at the moment, but we are going to be putting it all over here. Okay, now that is a problem. We are out of the dense cables. Oh yeah, that was the other automation thing that I was talking about earlier. We're going to automate this and paste. So we need to make some dense magenta cables to indicate that we are no longer on the P2P network, we are on the main network, and then we can run our normal magenta smart cables over to the machines over here, which will save us a lot of resources, I think. Okay, now the real question is this powered? One, yes, it looks like it is, and it looks like we can see it right there. Okay, so the one channel should be in here. It is, and that is from here. We should be able to see it as CPU 4. We only had 0, 1, and 2 last time, so if we do 3... Now, here we go. 135. That's exactly what we have. If we start this, it should show up over here, and it should get to crafting. It is. Beautiful. Okay, so that means now, since this is connected to our main network, we can go ahead and remove this. All right, let's build these other ones. And number 4. Okay, now we have 4 giant crafting CPUs available to use. Awesome. Okay, now, as you can see, we do have extra space. We could put another one here, maybe. Or we could put one here, and then another one there and there, just to make sure that we have as many as we need. Okay, crafting is now completed. Now we should be able to run basically anything we ever need to craft, and we've got 4 total, so we can run a whole bunch of things at the same time. So I guess the next order of business is to get all of the applied energistics auto crafting moved down here, and then upgrade some of it, because we need to put the crystal growth chamber down there. We need to move these, we need to move the Certus charger, and then we need to move any other thing that we need to make applied energistics stuff. So give me a second to think about what else I might need, and then we can get everything moved down there. Okay, so after a little bit of thinking and a day later, I have decided that we only need these 5 inscribers, this charger, the crystal growth chamber, just so we can automate the crafting of pure Certus quartz, pure fluix crystals, and pure nether quartz. And that will be 7 of the 8 channels that we have. So basically over here we have 32 channels. We have channels to spare, so I decided, you know what, let's just make 4 more of these. You know, it couldn't be that bad. So I went ahead and crafted up all the resources for that. Yeah, kind of went a little overkill on the auto crafting CPUs, but like, you know, it's gonna be worth it, right? And 4 for a total of 8. There we go, 8 out of 8. So that is 1/4 of this side of that block in the brain. Yeah, we have a lot of channels to work with. Alrighty, we went ahead and we got all of the applied energistics autocrafting set up over here. Now, I went with putting it on the ceiling here so I could actually see the crafting monitor, so I can actually watch my system craft things. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, all we really did was we moved the inscribers down here. We moved the charger down here, and apparently you can, in fact, take it from the side here. I did not know that previously. And we set up the crystal growth chamber to also autocraft the pure crystals. I did have a little bit of issues with this, something about MBT data, but I just remade the patterns, and now it works just fine. So that is applied energistics autocrafting done for now. We are using a total of 15 of the 32 channels over here. Eventually, there is going to be some other things from applied energistics that we're going to need to automate that I can put over here and use a channel for that. One of them being the way to make singularities. We need a matter condenser, a 64K ME storage component full of items. Now, unfortunately, we can't make this because we need to make it in a quantum compressor, which requires all of this stuff, which we need blocks of black iron, which is made in an induction smelter. We can't do that because that's from thermal. But I think with that out of the way, the next step is to fix the pattern area. So I'm thinking we just go build a 32 ME auto crafting interface molecular assembler setup over here. We'll use an entire face from the ME brain, and then we can put it purely into just patterns. Now, another thing that I haven't done yet, and we are going to do now, you can put acceleration cards in these assemblers. Honestly, I think having 3 each and just setting them up in patterns like this is probably going to be the best option we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and get that tested, get a design cooked up, and then we can start crafting. I say start crafting because these things are going to get extremely expensive. It takes a RF Tools Crafter Tier 3 quartz glass, formation annihilation cores, iron sheet metal, and then the entire crafting recipe of this, which is 18 crafting tables plus redstone gears, 18 more crafting tables plus redstone gears, 18 more crafting tables plus redstone gears, and a machine block from Extra Utilities 2, which takes all of this stuff. I might just go over to my UU Matter setup and duplicate these for a little bit, just so I don't have to, make a bunch of this stuff. Okay, so I went into Creative World. I tested it out. I have determined that a interface with 3 molecular assemblers, all with 5 speed cards in them, is plenty fast for what I need. I did a little bit of testing, and it can craft 512 things in about 15 seconds. So I think that's pretty good. So anyways, I went ahead and laid out a pattern over here on this corner. This is kind of where we're going to be putting all of our molecular assemblers. Now, originally I was going to try to figure out a better way to do like this, because some of these get 4 and some of these only get 3, but I think 3 is fast enough as is, and if there's 4, that just means it can go a little bit extra. In the back here, I did have to split this, so this one's probably going to get less. One of them's going to get 2, so I think I'm going to have to bury one in the floor there, but that should be fine. I can deal with that later. But now we need to actually craft all of it. So we can start with the interfaces because, these are cheaper. So we need 160. I did the calculations there. And this we can make. Next up, we need to make the molecular assemblers. Now, as I've discussed earlier, this is going to get expensive. So let's see what we need. Oh God, okay. 24,000 oak planks. Now the reason it's saying that it needs oak wood is because I have a recipe in the system right now. But we have a forestry wood farm. Why don't we just grab this and then plug it into our system? If we just have a import bus, we should be able to just have a bunch of planks, right? Oh no, is it really gonna be importing slowly? Jesus, okay. So in the meantime, while I do the research on how to get this wood in here, we can make a pattern for redstone torches, levers, and then I think I'm just gonna go to my UU Matter setup and duplicate these machine blocks. That's gonna be a lot more convenient, and we only need about 150, so I should have enough power to just breeze through that. Assuming these don't take very much. Takes 4.5 millibuckets. Okay, that's cheap. And then we can actually press the craft button on that. Okay. Alright, materials have been gathered, and this has been figured out. Basically, I just had to use a storage bus, because now this is considered part of the system. Anyways, let's make these molecular assemblers. We need 160. That's kind of a lot. So, here we go. 31,000 wood. Is it worth it? Absolutely. And now, I guess all we can do is sit back, relax, and watch this. We are done. Okay, so let's grab our interfaces. We're missing one. Are you serious? Okay, we'll just make one more real quick. Now, the next part about this is we're going to need 160 times 5 acceleration cards. 792 of these. 792 diamonds. 400 quartz. 1200 iron. Okay, dude. Sureens, and we'll come back to that later. Should we set everything up, or should we make the cables first? Why don't we get the wires in place first, because the wires are going to be the hard part, I feel like. This is going to be the complicated part, because we're going to need to figure out how to get the cables, like, where to go. And also, we need to make more cables. If we run it through here, this is, like, coming from main. This will be able to hit everything, and it's over a space, which is what we need. Okay, so now what we do is you grab some P2P tunnels, which I think we're going to have to make a few more of real quick. Ah, no, the P2P has to come off of the small ones. I forgot about that. Yes, that's why I had those. Okay, and I'll link these all later. I just want to get this configured now. So this is magenta. So this is going to be the weird one. Yeah, because it's in the corner. Okay, let me just think about this. Okay, so that should carry all of this, and then what we can do, it's going to be 4 tall, by the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the top. So then we can run the cables like that. That'll be those two. That side, like that. There we go. Okay, so that should be the yellow. Actually, if I'm smart about this, I only have this go to this one, because then it would be more optimized, I think. Okay, so that should be all 32, so that's 8, 8, 8, 24, 25, 6, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and this also needs to be moved over. Okay, now I can save a whole bunch of cables if I did this more intelligently. We can basically just get away with doing this and placing them on top, and everything will still get power. How on earth are we going to do the rest of this? Jeez. Okay, yeah, this is going to get extremely awkward extremely quickly. I might have to even get a different color coding for up here just for all of these, but gonna try to get away with just magenta again, but I guess we'll see how that goes. Okay, there we go. That's another one. Yeah, it's basically going to be like this the entire time. Okay, now this is where things get complicated when the pipe's going over the center. Yeah, this is going to get extremely complicated, so why don't I cut back when this is all done, and then we can actually put this all together with the acceleration cards as well. Alright, so as you can see, we did a little bit of redesigning. I realized that, I was going to have to run the smart cables anyway. Why not just move them down a block? And that makes everything so much more compact and so much better looking. Okay, so this is all good to go. I've also, as you can see, turned on the light levels because I'm going to be putting in the machines now. And this is going to take a while, so we're probably just going to turn this into a time lapse of me just placing a bunch of molecular assemblers, putting speed cards in them, and interfaces. So, yeah, I guess let's get to that. Alrighty, there we go. That is a lot of molecular assemblers. I think that will do just fine. Alright, so as you can see, this is using 6 channels, and all of these are using 32. Fortunately, you can't really see it because they're all kind of hidden, but you can see it right here. 32, 32. Same all the way back there if you can barely make that out. Okay. That's a lot of molecular assemblers. Each one has at least 3 and at most 4. That's pretty good. Even the ones in the back, as you saw, I had to make a couple extras for those. And also I had to make an extra 160 of each because I realized there was 6 components and not 5. So a little bit of a slight miscalculation there, but we had all the resources available to us. So now that that's done, why don't we go check our pattern terminal here? I feel like there's going to be... Oh my god. Yeah. I don't think we're going to run out of crafting patterns ever. I don't even know how many there are in there, to be honest with you. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strip out this. I'm going to move the patterns down there. We're going to reorganize everything. It's going to be a lot nicer. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and make a bunch more other patterns because I feel like we need a few other patterns for things that I just didn't have room for yet, or I just haven't been able to do. So I will go do that because that's just going to be extremely boring. So we'll cut back to when that's done. You know what? Haven't done one of these in a while. Ah, would you look at that? There we go. Alright, so I went ahead and made a couple extra patterns, as you can see, for some things that I didn't have and I will eventually need. We can start up here from the applied energistics stuff. We've got all the way up to 64K ME storage component. I figured we're going to need the 16,384,000 ME storage component, which is a 16 million. I don't know why they write it that way. But anyways, we're going to need this eventually, so you know what? We may as well make the patterns for them. So that's what I did. Went ahead and moved everything else from applied energistics up here. Left a space. I'm going to be doing this between every single kind of grouping, just so in case we need to make more stuff, we have room to do so, and we can keep it organized. Down here's mechanism. Didn't add anything here. Looks like I do need to add the pattern for ultimate energy cube. I don't know why I don't have that. We've got nuclear craft over here. I've kind of left some spaces in between, and I also went ahead and crafted all of the patterns for the dense helium collector, cobblestone generator, and infinite water source. I think I'm missing some components for nuclear craft here as well, but we'll get them when we need them. Down here, I've got the tier 3 crafter pattern. I didn't know where to put it, so I just kind of slapped it here. And right here, we have industrial craft. We are going to be making some industrial craft machines today and putting them in the base as automation, because right now we've got mechanism and a little bit of nuclear craft, so we might as well get our industrial craft done as well. I've also put this fluid infuser here because I'm going to set up some patterns for this, because we are going to get fluid set up today, and this would be convenient to have just on hand in case we need a pattern for something. But that's later. Right now, we're just looking at patterns. I think that should be everything. Oh, no, it's not. We got one thing left. All the way down at the end here is the vanilla Minecraft patterns. Just things that you craft normally in vanilla Minecraft. Okay, so I think the next order of business that I'm going to do is, why don't we just get the automation done for all of the machines that I need? Why don't we just queue up the time lapse? I will get all of these machines put over probably in this area. This floor is going to be like the machine automation. It's kind of the workshop right now, but eventually the workshop's going to go up here because there's nothing else to do up here, so this is going to be the workshop. Anyways, cue the time lapse. Let's get this organized and get some more machines in place. There we go. Alrighty, we got all of our machines moved over, and I've added a couple and made it kind of, more organized. Okay, first off, we got our two metal formers. This metal former makes the item casings and wires. Probably not going to need a lot of wires, but we are going to need these lead item casings for the nuclear craft infinite water sources. I also went ahead and moved the infusion factories over here. I got those all set up properly. Hopefully, we need to turn on auto sort on these. Good thing I noticed that. I also ran all the cabling in the back so we can actually access the machines from the front. Unfortunately, I had to put the export buses on the front so we could actually get the compressed redstone and stuff into there. But that only has to be like that for these. Everything else we have access to, minus the nuclear craft stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted to make this more compact, because I can put other machines up in the workshop in case I need, to make some various things. Or I could just come down here and weed through the wires. But anyways, got all of our mechanism stuff down. And we got our nuclear craft things as well. We've got our pressurizer, alloy furnace, and I went ahead and added a fluid infuser. A lot of cool stuff that we can do in there. And we're definitely going to be setting that up. But the thing about the fluid infuser is that takes fluids. And we don't really have a fluid system yet, now do we? So that's what we're going to do next. So to get the fluids, we're going to need to make a couple things. We are going to need to get a fluid terminal. That makes sense, considering that we need to be able to see the fluids. Looks like we don't have anything that we need here. That is not surprising at all. Now, depending on how expensive these are, I might just go ahead and go all the way up to 4096. So why don't we just make a pattern for these? And we definitely want to use pure Certus. Okay, very good. Honestly, don't know how much liquid storage I'm going to need, so we may as well just make one of the 4096K, and then maybe we can dump in a liquid that's going to be very important later, like water. And it looks like I didn't actually get these patterns properly added, did I? You can't actually make these. Wow, okay, so you can only make the 256K? The 1024 doesn't have a recipe. Interesting. Okay, well, I guess that makes our life easy. We'll only go up to the 256. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and start with 4 of these. Can we make 4? Yeah, we can make 4. So let's start that. We'll get that on crafting, and then we can also make some of the other things that we need here. Okay, make our ME terminal then and turn this into a fluid terminal. Now, I don't know where I'm going to put this. I think I'm just going to reorganize this whole kind of terminal area over here. Why don't I just go ahead and do that? Okay, give me 1 second. Ah, that is much better. Now, eventually, we're probably going to need more storage, so we can put more drives here, and then maybe like on this side, and then if we need more fluids, we can put them here and here. Basically, this is going to be our fluid storage drive. So I think, nope, we're still cooking on this. Yeah, it looks like it's going to take a while because we need to make a whole bunch of sand, a whole bunch of silicon, a whole bunch of various other things. But eventually what we can do is we can put the fluids into here. Another thing we need to do about fluids, right? We need to prevent them from going in places they're not supposed to be. Now that can be problematic because if you just dump water into the system, it's going to fill every single thing with water. You won't have any room for anything else. So what we need to do is we need to make a cell workbench. This is also another applied energistics thing that does not take channels but does take power. Guess we can put that on the energy cell thing in the same place that we put our I/O port in case we ever need to use that again. So the way that this works, you put your cell in here and then you can like segment it off. Because this can only hold 63 types of items, so if you just turn these all into nothing, then it can hold one thing. And then we're going to configure that to be water for our fluid storage. And it looks like we just need to wait for this to get crafted. I guess in the meantime, we can make more drives just so we can set them up so it would look nice, and then also configure this cable to work properly, because it is getting a little cramped over here, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of moving around, you know. Okay, so I think this is all working. I'm not really sure where this one's getting. Oh no, that's 6 and this is 5. Okay, there we go. Got that all nice and organized. This looks like a much better ME access terminal. Now, we do have space for up here. Basically, I just had to add some cable ties back here. Yeah, we were using a little bit more channels than I needed. But anyways, we should be good now. And there's our storage components. Now, we need to put these into some fluid storage housings, which we don't have. Oh boy, I didn't look this through. Looks like we need to make... Oh, no, we don't need to make these. We can just turn ME storage housing into ME fluid storage housing. Okay, there we go. And then we can turn these into fluid storage. And then 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is a lot of fluids. And it looks like you can put 5 fluid types in here, but like, I don't want that. I want it to be 1. Configures partition based on currently stored items. Okay, so we need to put water in here first. So now how do I actually get water in there? Thinking if I do this, will that work? I did not expect that to work. It was worth a shot, though. Ooh, I bet we need like an importer or exporter. Happy? We getting water in? As it turns out, I'm just an idiot. You need to use a fluid import bus. Who would have thought? So anyways, as you can see here, we've got 132 buckets of water, and we can check in the fluid terminal. There you go. I was doing some more testing, and I've figured out that there's a problem with these 256K fluid storage cells. So if we go over here to the partition workbench, right? As you can see, there's water in there. And if we hit the partition button, it doesn't partition. That is a problem, because I would like to have fluid storage be 1-to-1. So unfortunately, these 256K cells will not work for my system. So what I think we're going to do is we're just going to downgrade all of these to 64K, which, I mean, that's perfectly fine. And then we can just keep these around when we need to make some advanced thermionic fabricators. Now, unfortunately, this one, since we have water in it, we can't take the cell out. So unfortunately, that's just a little bit of wasted resources. But honestly, we're making everything infinitely for what we need to make these, so I'm not too worried about it. There's one final thing that I need to set up for this episode, and that is bulk storage. Because as you can see, 16,000 dirt, that's kind of taking up a lot of space. And we're going to be farming a bunch of various other things as well that are going to take up a lot of space on my drives, such as all the mystical agriculture stuff. As you can see, we have a lot of it. And another thing that we have a lot of is a bunch of these ores that we need to process down, or we just need to shove into system somewhere. So what I'm thinking we do is we make a drawer system. Like we can put it maybe over here. We have a drawer controller that has a storage interface on it, which will then hook up directly to our system, which means we can have bulk storage. So basically what we need to do is we need to get a bunch of storage drawers. We need to put them all over here, connect them all together with a storage controller, or a drawer controller, I think it's called. Anyways, we need to hook them all together with the controller, and then we can have bulk storage. Problem with that is bulk storage doesn't really work for the drawers unless you have the upgrades. Upgrade 1 we can make, that's just lead nuggets. Upgrade 2 we've been making, that's just dark steel nuggets. Upgrade 3, crystalline, which we need an extended crafting recipe, which unfortunately we can't get because this is the recipe for the crafting table. Yeah, nope, not gonna happen. Now, the fourth one, we can either use narcissistic honey, which is bees, or we can use empowered emeradic crystals, which we could make, because we just need beryllium dust, which is crushed beryllium. Don't know how to get this. Emerald, cactus green, and emeradic crystals. And this, you just have to put quartz in the atomic reconstructor. We could do that. And then we could go for the 5th tier upgrade, which takes litherite crystals. Now, the only way to get litherite crystals is to have a terrestrial artifact and pour molten enderium on it. Yeah, that doesn't look very fun. Or you have the litherite crystal already and duplicate it with UU matter. Or, of course, you mine it with a void miner, but obviously we don't have a void miner. So let's check how many litherite crystals we have. We have 1 exactly. I think the smart thing to do would be to set up a UU matter to duplicate this, and then see exactly how expensive it's going to be to duplicate this more than once, and then we can check if we can duplicate the storage upgrades, because if we can do that, it might be cheaper. Oh yeah, right, I set it to make a bunch of these RTG pellets, and we're up to 39 now, which is good. Put on a single run, and we do actually have the power for that. That's a miracle. Yeah, it looks like we just ran out of power there. Okay, cool, we got 4 total. Now I'm just gonna let this sit for a second just to get some more power and more UU matter built back up. All right, we have acquired our upgrade tier 5. Let's go back to the IC2 factory, and hopefully we can overwrite crystal memory. Oh, you can scan these. Oh, perfect. We're doing it. I really hope this isn't some absurd amount of UU matter. 4.6 buckets? Oh, God. Why am I doing that? Okay, that was stupid. Yeah, it's way better to just make the litherite crystals. I mean, I'm happy we figured it out that we could, in fact, duplicate them, but 4.5 buckets is a bit of a price hike for that. 1, 2, 3, and 4 liquid drives. Okay, so the first one's going to be water. So if we put some water in there, and then what we can do is we can take it over here and partition. Now if we put this in, it should turn up as orange, which means the items are full, but the drive is not. Perfect. So now all the water will go into here. And we have 3 other drives that we can't put into the system yet because once this fills up, everything will fill up with water again, which is what we don't want to happen. We need to figure out what kind of liquids we want to put in here. I've got a couple ideas, one of which is lava, but we don't have a way to make lava yet, I'm pretty sure. Mechanical squeezer, we could put netherrack in there. That might actually be a good idea. It looks like we don't need lava for much other than like making cobblestone generators. Should we just set this up anyways? I feel like it would be a good idea. Yeah, let's just do it. Okay, put this here, and then we put that here, and we need to plug it in, so we grab a cable. Yep, and then we put a piece of netherrack in there. That's incredibly slow. Oh my god, is there any way to speed this up? No. So we've got 2 left. Honestly, I don't really know what kind of fluids we need. Ah, yes, I know one. Destabilized redstone would be good. So, a nuclear craft melter. Ooh. Now, that's something we don't have over here, is it? No, it is not. Yes, that is going to be a good idea to have a melter. So, let's go ahead and make one and get that also set up. Okay, so there's our melter now. And I had to do something a bit strange here, which is put a fluid import bus, because you can't hook a fluid pipe into an interface unless you turn it into a fluid interface? Oh, that does exist. Ooh, I just had a thought. We might need that for the fluid infuser too. Oh, that might be a bit weird. You know what? I'll deal with that later, because we're going to be setting that up soon anyway, so let's just make a pattern for destabilized redstone. What if I just put the bucket in? Ah, there we go. I'm going to have to figure this out later. I'll probably figure that out in between episodes, because that's going to be complicated, and there's other things we need to do, and this episode is running rather long, so we have 1 left. Resonant Ender is probably a good idea. Energized Glowstone, maybe. Gelid Cryothium, probably. But honestly, I think Resonant Ender. Okay, it teleports you if you stand in it. That's kind of cool. Anyways, if we just kind of put the drive in there and then the bucket in there. Yay. Only partition Resonant Ender, and then we can store it away. Okay, we may rework those. I don't really know. The last thing that we need to do is we need to get our drawer setup going. So let's go over to the IC2 factory. Hopefully this should be done by now. It is. Cool. 4.6 buckets, by the way. That is a little bit absurd, and I think I'd rather do this. So let's just put this on repeated run. It is going to take a while, but we will be making these in the background while we work on other things. A singularity takes 10,000 items. Singularities are crafted into the ultimate singularity and infinity catalysts. Infinity catalysts are used to make infinity ingots, which are used to make various other things. 192,000, so that is 192 singularities? No, that's 19. 19 singularities? That's not enough. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to do 1x1 drawers for some of it, and then we can do the 2x2 for other stuff. That makes sense, actually. Okay, let's put the 1x1s on this side. Okay, yep, there's that, and a problem now, this top row we can't do. Okay, so now here's the good part. The oak trims that we got, we can line these on the top here. That does unfortunately cut the lighting off, which is kind of not what we wanted. So let me see if I can rework this so it can work better. So now, theoretically, if we were to place the controller like here or on the trim, then that would connect all of these together. What part of the system do we want to run this to? I don't think it would be a horrible idea to run this directly into the main access point. So why don't we do that? Bam, 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 and then we add a storage bus right on top of this. Now, the thing about this is we need to make sure this is the priority. We need to set this to be like the highest priority possible. Because then when we put things in here, it will go to these drawers. We need to find an item that we don't have a lot of stuff in, but we can test. I was going to do void upgrades, but then it just put the upgrade in there, so that was kind of redundant. Dragon hearts, let's do that. So anyways, we put a dragon heart in here. And then if we run over here and we put the dragon heart in our system, it was a little bit laggy. And it put it in there. That makes sense, though. Okay, so what we need to do to fix that is we need to lock all the drawers. Okay, so these are all locked. So now, let's try this again. So the dragon heart goes in here, and then we put these 2 in there. They should end up in here. There should be 3. There's not. I don't think this can reach. Good to know. Alrighty, so after a little bit of research and a lack of understanding of the controller slaves, I have decided that we're just not gonna have any. So the range of a drawer controller is 12 blocks in every direction in a square. So if we were to put this in the center of the room, which by the way, this is not the center of the room, but it is the center of this big wall of drawers, right there, then it would be able to reach everything. So if we check that, that's going to be the furthest point. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks away, which will all fit in quite nicely. Now we might not even go that far depending on how much storage we need, but it would be nice to have it eventually. Got to put our ME storage bus back in place and set this to priority 5000 just to be sure that this will always have priority. And then we can go ahead and we can fill in the rest of this like so, and then we can go ahead and put in our 2x2 drawers. Now that I'm thinking about this, there's a lot of drawers here. We might not need these 2x2s. We might be able to get away with just the 1x1s. Why don't we just do that? There's a lot of space over there, and since we're getting this stored up anyways, let's just do it. And then, of course, we can always just come back and replace some with 2x2s if we ever need them. Okay, so that looks to be all locked. So I think the easiest way to test if I've actually locked them all is to put something into the system that's new. We don't have dragon hearts, and it looks like they went straight into the system, which is good. So now, just to test that that did actually do what I want it to, if we unlock this one and then take dragon hearts out and put them back in, it should go into there. It did not. Yes, I know why, because we never actually hooked it up. Take out the dragon hearts, put them in, and they should go into the unlocked drawer over here. They did. Perfect. So now what we need to do is, since this is a higher priority, let's just check if this random one, if we put the hearts in, it should go straight into the drawer as well. It did, and then if we take them all out, it'll stay locked, and then that will keep its item. Perfect. Okay, so now what we need to do is put void upgrades in all these, and then spam a bunch of these storage upgrades. And then, of course, recombobulate our system here, because we are going to need to move all of the like high stacking items, and then we can also start moving some of the other stuff in that we have already, which would be very convenient. But you know what? That sounds like a lot of grunt work. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that in between episodes so you guys don't have to sit around and watch me move items for about 20 minutes. So honestly, I think that's going to be it for this episode. We got a lot of stuff done, mostly in, well, I say mostly, entirely infrastructure related. We got all of our auto crafting recombobulated and reorganized to work nicely. I still need to figure out the melter. That's on the list, don't worry. We built an entire huge molecular assembler structure over here with 192 molecular assemblers ready to autocraft literally anything. We upgraded our ME controller to be the absolute wire brain monster that it is. And finally, we reorganized our ME access panel, I suppose we could call it, added fluid storage, and now we can autocraft basically anything that we need. That's going to be it for this episode. Next episode, I'm probably going to dive into Industrial 4-going, just because that is the next step in order to get to the thermal expansion machines, which I so desperately need. Goodbye.